Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, welcome on in, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Look, ChatGPT won't do the things I want it to do sometimes. And it's like, I think it thinks look, I know, and you know who's ruined it? The teenage boys out there. I'm sure they have. Because now I ask it to, I'm like, hey, make a fake picture of, I think it was of Jackson Smith and Jigba. It was like, catching it was like pointing and laughing at Puka Nacua. That's what it's. I was like, make a picture of this, pointing and laughing at Puka Nacua after the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And then ChatGPT's getting all stifly and uppity now about stuff. And what are they? And it's like, I can't make fun of real people. If you'd like a generic person pointing at a generic person in a random Rams, I'm like, no, then we missed the point.
Did ChatGPT get sued?
Come on. Maybe, but
Why is it worried about that now?
Yeah, you're fake. You can't get sued.
That was the whole fun of it.
That was,
I mean, we all understand and acknowledge it's not real.
Putting people in compromising positions was why you were created. Come on, ChatGPT.
The whole point of ChatGPT is to make our weird ideas come to life.
Come on. You know you can do it, ChatGPT.
The strangest thing we can think of. We want to we want to bring it to life.
Yeah, don't limit
yourself. That's your job, ChatGPT.
So the whole thing was that we were just watching the Seahawks celebrating, and ESPN had to blank out 2/3 of the screen because everybody was wearing the Sam Darnold T-shirt with him flipping people off, holding the NFC Championship trophy. Did you see this?
Yes.
And I don't know if it's a real situation. I go, did he really do that, or did they just kind of chat? And he's like, and you were like, oh no, ChatGPT can do anything. Now, other AIs, you can do a lot of crazy stuff, all right? But apparently, ChatGPT won't let me put a real Sam Darnold picture up there flipping somebody off. I don't even think he really did it. It does not seem like it's in his wheelhouse, that's something that he would do. But, maybe prove me wrong. But regardless, I've been hit up on Instagram. I've been hit up by my son. If we can get the Sam Darnold shirt of him flipping everybody off. And I said, we'll probably put a pin in that one.
Well, apparently, after a Google search,
you can get it.
The Sam Darnold flipping the bird picture is real.
It is real. Okay. Who was he doing it to?
I don't know.
I think it was just to his teammates. It's
Probably.
It's not like Matt Stafford walked by the trophy ceremony and he pointed at him and flipped him off. I mean, maybe that rivalry just took a different turn. Napolis, that'll be a lot more fun next year for us if the Seahawks and the Rams are in the NFC Championship game again. Those are the two with the best favorites, by the way, to go to the Super Bowl next year. And I don't blame them. Did you see, by the way, ESPN put up before the year, everybody took receipts at the beginning of all this with the Seahawks winning, and they go, remember this? And ESPN's experts had put together chances of winning the NFC West. And this was from this year. I don't know why, because I never had the Cardinals even once thinking about the possibility of getting better. Did you?
No.
They had them at like a 38% chance of winning the NFC East.
Based on
or NFC
what?
West. I have no idea. And then it was, and then after that, it was the 49ers at like 22%. And then it was like 20% to the Rams and then like 9% to the Seahawks. That might not all add up to 100, by the way. I'm not sure. But it was definitely like the worst to the best in that order. And anybody who watched that thing all go down, I don't know anyone who actually had the Cardinals doing anything. But I don't think they're going to do anything for quite some time there, JJ. But
there's not a lot of light in the end of that tunnel.
You know what? We're going to be doing something though. Let's
maybe they should trade for Jaren Jackson Jr. That would change everything for the Cardinals in their tank.
Yeah, but if you tank too hard, everybody's going to make fun of you.
That's right.
All right. We'll get into that a little bit later too, because Utah is still taking the brunt of what tanking is in the league.
We're not going to stand for it, Utah.
No,
we're not going to let these guys, these national talking heads, get away with their Utah slander. We're going to call them out today.
No way. All right. Before though that, we're going to talk about some couple things. I'm not doing this to rip any Band-Aids off and bring up old, or not even old, it's kind of fresher wounds. We want to let those heal, but Jay Hill was on a podcast in Michigan, okay? And I'm all about it, get out there, see what this guy. And if you're Jay Hill, you're not going to go to a new place and go, I didn't really want to be here, but the money was too good. Like $2.5 million a year is a base salary for a defensive coordinator. That's pretty, look, I'll take it. You know what I mean? But Jay Hill goes on a podcast in Michigan with former Michigan players and starts kind of going into it. And I want to get into some of the audio that he'd said. Okay, what did he say about Kalani? What did he say about the decision to leave BYU? What did he say about being with Kyle Whittingham? All those things. So let's jump in right here, top of the program. Let's get it going here with the cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right. Hey, by the way, Latvia is the first team that Team USA is playing in the men's hockey tournament. Latvia. I'm watching Sweden versus Italy right now. Just don't picture Italy as being one of those strong contenders, but they are the host country. Maybe they got better now. You don't think of Italy as being a really strong.
How many American players that happen to be Italian are on the Italian hockey team?
Oh, that's a good point. Do you
research? I must do.
Let me ask you this: do you get in because you're the host country? Is it like the World Cup? You get into the host country, you can.
I think so.
Yeah, we're gonna put our. Their goalie just strained your groin or something. They just took him out. Like, no, you have to stretch like that if you're going to be a goalie.
Probably some 50-year-old guy from Sicily.
The Italian beer league.
It's like, hey.
The super good soccer player. Yeah. Oh, here comes the look, if you're the backup goalie for Italy, look at this guy coming out. I mean,
I wish everybody listening could see this right now.
Listen, I'll just explain to you. What's that meme of that guy who runs onto the pitch as fast as he can? This is the equivalent of a guy who
that cross-country guy that is going viral today.
Never
similar to that.
Yeah, just charging up that hill. This guy just came in as the backup goalie for Italy, and he's going to turn some things around here. Okay,
he's been waiting for this his entire life.
All right, that's inappropriate. We don't need to see that part. What are you doing to the ice there, buddy? You're stretched out. Okay, we get it. All right, so here's Jay Hill on this podcast talking about. It's the In the Trenches podcast, and these are a couple of former players, and they talk all things Michigan and Michigan football. So here we go. Jay Hill talking about the decision to go to Michigan. First, he had to start things off talking about, because the host asked him about leaving BYU, and first he kind of went off about the experience that he had with Kalani.
Well, Kalani's a phenomenal person. He's a people person. Everybody loves him. He does a great job of motivating because the players know he cares about them. And so as a consequence, he can push them because they know he cares. He was great to the assistants. Anyway, bottom line, it was like working for one of my really good friends. I think he's great. He knows the X's and O's, and obviously he's had a ton of success.
He's like dating my best friend. I mean, it's like coaching with my best friend. By the way, when he says everyone loves Kalani, isn't there part of you that goes, hold the phone a little bit? We have a couple people in mind that may not necessarily love Kalani.
Oh, man. You can't make everybody happy.
Yeah, and he's not a there are
guys.
When
it comes to college football head coaches, my gosh, he's got to be the most liked college football coach.
I think he's been to dinner with every head coach and their
spouse.
Cruise
with their family.
Yes. It's not just the coach who's good, his wife is amazing too. So that's not a shock.
I was talking to people at the Super Bowl. I was like, hey, you cover BYU? I was like, yeah, what's Kalani like? He seems like an amazing guy.
Oh, he is. And everybody who, I mean, there are people who are fired by Kalani that do not love him, and that's just a part of the deal.
That's business. You can't make everybody happy. You're going to have enemies.
Jay Hill leaving was tough. And I think we could all agree that's probably the biggest empty space left at that. Not probably. It is the biggest empty space left. Besides Kyle Whittingham and the entire state of coaching in college football. The decision to leave BYU, I think this will kind of shock people because I think we had assumed that maybe there was a little bit more of a, I don't know, I'm torn.
There were reports that there was somebody out there that was making it really hard.
Yeah, and I get it. And I think you as a BYU fan listening out there go, no, he wanted to figure it out. I think that it, maybe that there was just a little bit more and they finally came to a decision and they get with God on it and they go to the team that they want to go to. But this is what Jay Hill said about the job offer and coming to Michigan?
Well, the decision to come to Michigan was not hard at all. Coach Witt called me and said, hey, I think I have this opportunity. What do you think? I said, Coach, I'm in because it's Michigan. And I believe that we can win national championships here. I believe we can win consistent Big Ten championships here. With the way Coach Witt coaches, his discipline and toughness, I just think it's a perfect match for Michigan. I was in. Moving your family and doing some of those things, that's the hard side of this job. But a lot of times you put yourself in a great situation and you figure out the other stuff after.
My wife lived in Ann Arbor for a while. She was an intern at Ford.
Yeah.
She's like, there's some parts of Ann Arbor that would not be hard to move to.
It's nice. I've been out there for games. It's a great city, great college town.
I just think, and by the way, like, couldn't you have at least said, yeah, it took us a while. It was, no, he called me. Even Witt was probably like, oh, I mean, you can think about it. Like, I'll give you the night. And he's like, no.
I mean, he just made it very clear, like, he was all in from the very beginning.
Yeah, and that's the part I think that was not like it's controversial or weird or whatever.
Not at all.
The good news was he probably had that decision in his head and decided, I'm not talking about this thing at all until after I'm done coaching my last game at BYU, which he did. You know what I mean? Like, in an era when everybody else announces for you what your intentions are, Jay Hill did the pro thing, and even though it looks like there was not any moment of hesitation for Jay Hill to go to Michigan, and by the way, I don't think there's a coach on any staff on planet Earth that if they're asked to come be a defensive coordinator at Michigan would say, nah, man, I think I'm gonna stay here at JMU. You know what I mean? Like, this is
right,
not it.
But let's stop and talk about that, because I think there's a lot of BYU fans out there that wanted to think or believe that with the resources they had, they could have made this decision very difficult for Jay Hill, and it's very clear what Jay Hill just said. There was no hesitation. The decision was clear, right. Crystal clear.
And I bet money wasn't even that much
from the
of
get-go. Not even a problem.
Right. Because they probably could have matched it.
It's Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay, here's where, I don't fault Jay Hill at all. But here's the concern. I'm going to call it a concern. How do you change this narrative or this reality if you're BYU and Utah? Because the Cougars and the Utes are now competing at the Power 4 level. They have a lot of resources, especially BYU right now. How do you fend off the Michigans of the world from stealing your assistant coaches or your head coach?
A legacy Hall of Fame head coach that was at your school 5 minutes before and then just went to Michigan and then takes the other best coaching situation out of Kalani and Coach Whittingham and Morgan Scalley and Jay Hill. Everybody looks and goes, all right, Witt, Kalani, and then I think in your head, if you're trying to hire a new head coach somewhere in this country, anywhere, or an amazing assistant anywhere, you take Jay Hill, probably even before Morgan Scalley, just because of the extended success that have been.
There's debate among Utah fans whether Jay Hill or Morgan Scalley would be the best head coach. That has been a discussion that's been had on social media.
Well, and Jay Hill's been a head coach. So
exactly.
I think that would have been that's probably makes a decision for you. But
Morgan was in that position. He absolutely has earned it and deserves it. But that debate is real because Jay Hill has an impeccable head coaching record and resume at Weber State, and then was able to become one of the best defensive coordinators in the country at BYU. So Jay Hill is in that conversation with the other three.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves that opportunity, and I think success at Michigan is going to allow him to be able to pick and choose whatever opportunity he wants to be in that chair as a head coach.
Yeah.
Again, not at the G5, not at the FCS, at the P4 level, at the highest level, perhaps in the Big Ten, perhaps in the SEC. I don't know. Wherever he wants to go, if he's successful at Michigan, he's be able to do that. But from the Utah and BYU perspective, what do you have to do to be among the elite? Because BYU and Utah finished ahead of Michigan in the top 25 this past year.
Yeah.
And for the last 2 years,
I was gonna say,
BYU has been better than Michigan.
Yeah.
And it's not even close.
Yeah.
Winning more games, been in the top 25 more, been in the college football playoff poll more times.
Okay, what you're asking is,
why
I know
is it such an easy decision for Jay Hill to go to Michigan when you're LDS and you've been in Utah and BYU is a perfect situation for you? Why is it so easy to go to Michigan? What does BYU and Utah have to do to change that narrative? Is there anything they can do?
No. And that's the unfortunate part. That there will never be a moment in time. Think about it, too. Here's the litmus test. Can your school deal with immense cheating, public scandal, disgusting behavior by coaches? Go over to Penn State, look just across the same conference.
Penn State and Michigan have had their share of controversy.
And guess what?
At different levels. Obviously, Penn State was much worse.
Those brands.
But what just happened at Michigan is not light.
Of course
the
not.
The Moore situation is not light.
But that's what I'm saying.
The cheating is not light.
Those things are there, and everybody still goes, yeah, but it's Michigan. You know what I'm saying?
BYU and Utah have had clean programs that have done things the right way.
Don't care.
One at a high level.
Don't care.
Michigan has had all kinds of ethical problems over the last few years. Did win a national championship, but everyone's wondering.
It will never matter. It will never matter.
And it doesn't change anything.
No, because
Michigan is, it's Michigan. Got to go.
Yep. And it's going to be like that forever. There are going to be programs that those coaching jobs will always be.
So there's nothing Utah or BYU could ever do to be on that same plane?
Never. You win.
Wow.
You win a championship. I mean, maybe I'm not looking 1,000 years into the future here, but those
none of us are going to be around for that.
No, but even 100 years from now, if BYU and Utah add 2 or 3 national championships apiece in football over the next 100 years, they still would never be there because this is a founding father. This isn't just. I mean, this has.
It's the big house.
And you think
it's the Big Ten.
You think BYU has money? You think BYU alumni have money? Of course they do. But we're talking about Michigan. Will BYU basketball ever eclipse Kansas from a brand standpoint of a place that you want to be if it's A versus B?
They'd have to win a lot of NCAA tournament championships and go to a lot of Final Fours before they can even be in that conversation.
And there's history that can never be
I get that.
Reestablished for another team who's new to the block, so to speak. Has BYU been better than Kansas in the last couple of years? Probably 2 out of the last 3 they have been, right?
Beat them head-to-head, both in their building and at their place.
And guess
beat
what?
Beat them badly.
And guess what? That's a job that is paying Bill Self. Now, Bill Self's a little bit different. But, I mean, like, there are high-paying jobs across the country that Kevin Young is like, yeah, I'm one of the high-paying guys too. I mean, he's right there with other Big 12 coaches.
BYU's doing everything that the other
100%.
Blue Bloods are doing at the highest level to compete.
That makes no difference because there's old money and a brand that will never be touched, and you can have all the new money you want, but you don't have that royal blood.
So tradition still matters in college football.
It will never change.
If Nebraska came calling.
No, I mean.
Why does that change?
Because Nebraska and Michigan are different. Like, let's not mess around. Just because the word blue blood is attached to one to the other.
How did they change? What changed?
Michigan is, first of all, the team that has won the most football games in the history of the game.
Yeah.
Okay? So that means they've been around longer. They've done more. And so I'm not trying. By
Where's
the way,
the line drawn
this,
with BYU and Utah where that's no longer? What schools, if you're an assistant coach, you're jumping to, are not lateral moves in college football at this point for BYU and Utah? It's got to be a short list, right?
Yeah, no, and I think
Michigan's obviously on that list. Jay Hill just proved it. He's like a no-brainer. I'm going to Michigan.
Okay, let's think about some big brands overall. BYU,
Ohio State, of course, yes.
Yeah,
Oregon, yes.
Yes, Penn State, even yes. Michigan, yes. But and USC might be on that list.
BYU
I think,
kept Kalani from going to Penn State.
That's right, and you know what? UCLA was also a team that came calling, and I don't think that phone call was returned. UCLA's a brand that got eclipsed.
That's why the Kalani situation was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess you can never say never.
BYU being able to keep Kalani Sitake from taking that Penn State job was a massive deal. And we knew it in the moment. And now as this conversation continues, I'm like, that was a massive deal. But I think the reason why that happened is Kalani, they got a deal done that made sense financially, not just for Kalani, but for his assistants and for NIL. It was a much bigger deal than just about Kalani. But Kalani is a BYU guy, and I think that played into the decision as well. I think that mattered in that situation. And BYU's fortunate that it did. But that was a massive victory for BYU to keep Kalani at BYU, because we're having this conversation. We're going through those schools. And, yes, Penn State is one of those schools where if you're a head coach or an assistant coach at BYU or Utah, you're probably going to think really hard, or it's a no-brainer, like Jay Hill said, to go to those schools. And we're still in that situation. No matter what BYU and Utah have accomplished on the football field recently or over time, has not been enough to change that narrative.
Yeah, and again, never say never, but BYU and Utah will never have that same mystique that Michigan has. And it's not a bad thing. It's just where it stands. Like, this is where the sport is. You can't
have to win multiple national championships.
Yeah. And even then,
conference championships, all that comes with it.
Right. And you could
100,000 seat stadium.
Look, we've seen it. Look, Utah has become something totally different from what they were when I was a kid growing up.
Oh my gosh.
Right? You think about what they were
unrecognizable
when we were in the mid 80s. Watching college football
playing on
as kids.
concrete in the 80s.
And, yeah, I mean,
the fans that went to Rice Stadium know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and if you watch that growth, you go, man, some awesome things can happen if you get the right people in there. What we're asking here is that Michigan become less important compared to, some of these other teams. They just never will be. The alumni base is totally different. The span across the history of the sport itself is totally different, and you'll always be able to have that advantage of the branding. You'll always be able to have that advantage of the branding. North Carolina will always be that basketball program that I don't care how good UCF becomes over the years. You know what I mean? Like, or anybody. Think about even like Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a great basketball program, pretty good history.
Oh, yeah.
But Cincinnati could do everything and be amazing and be awesome, win national championships or whatever it might be. No one would ever say, oh, Cincinnati's a way better situation than North Carolina. Right. You just never would.
You're correct.
So anyway, pretty interesting discussion, because I think that Witt. Oh, we didn't get to hear the last one about Kyle Whittingham, right? Well, I want to hear this one because he talks about Kyle Whittingham. We'll get to this and we'll get to the break. But here's what he said about being with Kyle. Obviously, there's a long, long history there, and that was part of the decision as well.
So I'm one of the few guys in the coaching profession that has the perspective of, I actually got to play for Coach Witt. He was the defensive coordinator when I was playing. And then I got to be a graduate assistant under him, and then I got to see him as a head coach as he grew into the role. And I have more respect for Coach Witt than any coach in the game, just because he's phenomenal with X's and O's. He's extremely disciplined and extremely intelligent. Like, when you sit down with him, you're like, man, this guy's brilliant. And that's what I always saw in him, and why I stayed with him for so long and why I was willing to come back with him, because I just see special in Coach Witt. He's a coach of all coaches. He's one of those guys that never stops learning. He wants to know what the offense is doing. He's extremely smart with special teams. He wants to know all the techniques from all the position groups. So I've seen him grow up in that aspect. I would say just understanding of, it's never perfect. Although we're striving for perfection, it never is. And so how do you overcome those things? I think he's really grown there.
Okay, there you go. All those things add up to, it shouldn't have been it was a no-brainer for Jay Hill. And BYU knows, I think, in the end, if somebody was going to be like, I can't believe he went and took that job. Yeah, you can. You know exactly where he went. It's a bonus that this is a guy who he knows really, really well. If it was a no-name head coach, I say no-name. If it wasn't the connection of Kyle Whittingham and Jay Hill, does Jay Hill take that job when a coach calls him up and goes, I love your style, man, like, come to Michigan?
Based on what he said, yes, because it's Michigan.
It's Michigan. Yeah. It's
but
a bonus.
It made it even more. It was even
yeah.
more of a no-brainer because of the relationship and respect that he already had for Kyle Whittingham.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, Kyle Whittingham made his first call to Jay Hill.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. Hey, we got more college football to talk about. You know why? There's teams who are like, hey, man, we want a piece of this action. We think we could be the next JMU. We think we could be the next Tulane. Put us in there as a G5 team representing, or group of 6 team in the college football playoff. How teams trying to make that jump, it's difficult. You got to pay for it. But how to have success, I think you're going to have some people who are going to see that success. So we'll talk about that and much more right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide,
Love it.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Got a Jazz basketball game tonight. As the controversial Utah Jazz take the court tonight.
Who are they going to play for only 3 quarters tonight?
Dun, dun, dun. Which,
Outrage.
by the way, it'll be a hilarious game tonight because they are playing the Kings. All right. Pre-game right here.
And the Kings will be full strength, right? Because they're
oh, yeah.
They're not the problem.
Napolis, what was the number of people sitting out? It's basically everybody for the Kings, right? I mean, it's anybody that's of any import.
Oh, the Kings are tanking tonight.
This is a 12-win team coming into a 17-win team's house. Neither want to win this game.
No Hunter, no Levine, no Westbrook, no Sabonis.
Well, yeah.
Essentially, nobody's playing for the Kings as well.
No starters.
No Westbrook probably works out better for them, though. That might actually be an advantage. So, no, I don't know. You know, it's weird because everybody's talking about the Jazz right now. Like, they're the poster children for tanking. Come on. What are we doing?
There's so many other egregious examples.
Well, tonight's just going to be I don't know what tonight's going to be.
Well, it's going to be the debut of Jaren Jackson Jr. at home.
And so you're probably going to see
It's gonna be awesome.
You're probably going to see. Are you ready for this? A two-game win streak. No, didn't we decide it's 3, right?
It has to be 3.
Officially, it needs
streak,
to be 3.
Right?
All right, but could win 2 in a row. After that win over Miami the other night, which they got criticized.
What would that do to the national narrative?
They got criticized for sitting Larry Markkinen and Jaren Jackson Jr. in the fourth quarter of a game that they won. And then they go, yeah, I mean, it worked out for him that time. The guy said it didn't work out. It backfired on him. That's what he said. Yeah, and in that moment, it backfired on him. I mean, you just said the weirdest way that a bunch of young guys on a Jazz roster went to Miami, a team who's got a better record than they do, and just beat them. So I don't know what they want. So either way, it's fine. I got some college football stuff to bring up here, JJ. By the way, that's a 6 p.m. pregame right here on the KSL Sports.
We'll get more into the tanking thing. We're not done with that.
Yeah, lots of talking in the 5 o'clock hour. Yeah, we'll hit a lot of Jazz a little bit later. But there you go. I did want to mention that Team Italy did fall 5-2 to Team Sweden in men's hockey. Spoiler alert.
How many NHL players on Italy's roster?
Italy has 0 NHL guys on an active NHL roster.
Wow. How many NHL players on Sweden's roster?
There are 0 amateurs. There are 0 non-NHL players on Sweden's roster. 0.
They're a juggernaut.
It is a roster made up entirely of NHL players. That's the same thing for Team USA, same thing for Team Canada. I mean, the Mammoth captain, Clayton Keller.
Czechia is loaded with NHL players. Finland.
Basically all these. And so Italy was
Slovakia.
And they're actually, somebody even said, they go, okay, look, Italy is a second-tier tournament in Europe team, and here they are playing in this tournament. It's going to be a very different speed for them. They faced the most shots in the history of an Olympic hockey tournament at 62 shots from Sweden. And it was 3-2 with like 3 minutes left. So that's about as good an effort you could put in.
Yeah, a prospect for the Ducks played his tail off.
Oh, stop it with that dad joke stuff. He looked right at our producer. He worked his tail off. Womp womp. Got it.
DuckTales.
Worked his pants off like Donald. No pants.
I'm not a JJ hater. I'm not,
but
before we get to North Dakota State, can we address how did Donald Duck get away with going pantsless for so many years?
Should have blurted out. Traumatized childhood.
We were victimized.
Subjected
to
think about it.
Duck nudity.
Yeah. Think about
for decades.
Think about Uncle Scrooge. He went full on top hat, big jacket, all this stuff, and even like the nice shoes. And
how can you be distinguished with the top hat and a monocle and not be wearing pants?
No pants. Inappropriate. All right. So
what a weirdo.
It's a children's show. The best blanket ever is also the best Valentine's gift ever. And head over to MickeyCouture.com on their website. You can get 50% off using the promo code Zone50. Or how about showing up and right there in the store? They've got stores all across the Wasatch Front. You can take advantage right there. Zone50, you're going to get tons of money off right there. The best blanket ever, best Valentine's gift ever. All right, North Dakota State looking for an immediate passage into the college football playoff FBS division. If you're unfamiliar with the Bison and what they do, shame on you, because if you thought JMU was a pretty good add to the FBS level, maybe, JJ, am I saying it? This isn't nuts to say that North Dakota State University is the most dominant team in the history of the FCS.
In the modern era, yes. No question.
They've won 11 of the last 14 national championships. They are the poster child for – Carson Wentz was a –
he was. Carson Wentz, Trey Lance.
Yeah. Now, there's lots of guys who come out of there because it's a winning program. So they want to move to the Mountain West. They're going to have to pay the conference $12 million. They're going to have to pay the NCAA $5 million because, the paperwork.
Yeah, 10 national championships in FCS, all won since 2011.
Yeah. So
most all time.
Like I said, like the NCAA has to get a little piece of the action, so they're going to charge them $5 million.
Jeez.
I would assume for just like the notary fees and stuff like that for the signing. $5 million. So $17 million they're going to have to put up, which they are like, we have it. We're ready right now. Okay? And they want to be at the FCS or at the FBS level. They'll be in the Mountain West, which JJ, you and I both agreed, this would make North Dakota State immediately the best program in the Mountain West. Am I saying that? Is that being mean to the current teams that are that are going to be in the Mountain West this next season?
Well, let me list off the teams. You tell me who is going to be better than North Dakota State next year. Air Force.
No.
Hawaii.
Maybe. They had a decent year.
Wow. Okay.
But a maybe. I'll throw a maybe in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nevada.
The Wolfpack?
The Wolfpack.
No.
New Mexico.
Ooh.
Coach X got it going. Much better. Much improved. Bronco Mendenhall got him going in the right direction.
I'd say that would be a team that would be better than
That's
North
a contender.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Crazy to say New Mexico's a contender in anything,
All
but
right.
they would be. Northern Illinois.
No.
Okay. San Jose State.
No.
UNLV.
Probably not. Dan Mullen, I think, is faking it down there.
Probably put him in that category,
Maybe
though, with New Mexico.
One. Yeah.
How about your favorite school, UTEP?
I mean, they will lose by 3 touchdowns next year, at least. I'm setting the
North
line.
North Dakota State is much better than UTEP right now.
Right now.
Okay.
And some of these other teams, right now, yes.
The next and last school on the list in the Mountain West that North Dakota State must face, and we don't even know if they're going to play them in year one, is Wyoming.
Okay.
They should play them because there's only 9 teams in the conference.
Yeah, I think they're better than Wyoming, too. Okay? So we just named off 3 teams that could maybe contend with them? Or that
only 2 that could actually, that we would say, okay, that's an interesting game. That's North Dakota State wouldn't beat them handily. You said
this before the show. You were like, I think North Dakota State actually would have been a really good fit in the Pac-12.
Absolutely.
That would be interesting. But again, you have other teams that are looking for this too. Apparently Montana's been looking into it. Sacramento State is a team that's ready to – they just keep trying to put up money to do this thing.
They want it in the Pac-12.
All right, Doubles Luge needs to settle down, right?
You're easily distracted.
This is a family program.
We should not be watching. That's for the late night Olympics.
Double Luge, settle down. Come on. Plus those outfits.
What's worse, Double Luge or Donald Duck without his pants?
You don't need that shot when they're coming straight at you.
What's more inappropriate, Double
that.
Luge or Donald Duck pantsless?
Double Luge by far. You know why? My favorite is when somebody goes, you know what you'd be good at? And then they're all, I want you to meet Mike. He's going to be your partner in the next couple of years. All right, just sit on his lap here. See how this looks. Anyway, I am easily distracted. And you know what I would love? I would love to see North Dakota State in the Pac-12. But I think this is great that they're going to go to the Mountain West. This actually made the Mountain West better. A conference
no question.
A conference we wondered was going to be going to get any good positive pub over the next
How much better
while.
does it make it? In my opinion, I think North Dakota State wins that league in 2026. And depending on how they do in their non-conference, they'll be a factor in a group of 5 selection for the college football playoff.
I bet the next couple of years they'll be contenders. They'll be in the discussion.
How insane would that be?
They'll hit the top 25 at one point because they'll be, 9-1 in the 2027 year, and it'll be and they'll be there. So it's crazy.
To make the move from FCS to FBS, to go from the FCS playoffs to potentially the college football playoff in less than 5 years would be a remarkable jump. But I think that they're built for it. I think they could pull it off. I think they could be one of the best group of 5 programs in the country.
Right.
JMU is made a similar jump. And I think that North Dakota State is better positioned than JMU was.
They are. Napolis, are you laughing at Double Luge? Is that what you're watching? Yeah. See? We're all kids here, man. Like, why are they making these guys do this? The guy on the bottom is like,
why is this an Olympic event? This doesn't happen in real life.
No, you did this with your brother on a hill.
Did
sledding.
You?
Oh yeah, you're
laying on top of each other on a toboggan.
It was never on top of each other. It was
that?
back to back. It was like you had your legs.
Yeah.
And he was sitting on the space in front of you because this is not something that should happen in the real world. All right. By the way, some of these translate into like real life skills. Biathlon, ski around, shoot a guy. Double luge has no meaning in the real world unless you're trying to escape some Bond villain on a mountain. I guess hop on. But it would be
Bond and a Bond girl.
Lady. Yes. Come on. All right.
Even that is far-fetched.
I'm glad we had this discussion.
Why are we doing this in the Olympics?
Jump on this luge. Get on the sled. That was my Connery. Get on the sled.
Suck it, Trebek.
We've got to get down this mountain. Get on. All right. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. We have a Would You Rather that you don't want to miss. I think there's some sound associated with it, too. It's a unique one, all right? So we'll jump in next with a Would You Rather. Stay right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Everybody, real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Join us tomorrow. We're going to be at the Mountain America Expo Center there in Sandy. 3 to 6. It is that time of the year. The RV show going off at the Mountain America Expo Center there in Sandy. Your chance to shop, compare, and buy the RV of your dreams. And we'll be there. And you can come enjoy the time with us. There you go. I want to apologize, everybody, for the Seattle Seahawks post-parade celebration. It's not for the kids, man. What did Lloyd say? It made the Raiders look tame. I wouldn't go that far, but it was one way to have a party.
Nobody got killed, so it wasn't Raider
That's
level.
true. Nobody got killed. How dare you? Also, no Super Bowl trophy almost went down to the bottom of the ocean. That's good. That was a Gronk situation, right? It didn't fall in the water, right? It got close.
Tom Brady was the quarterback, so he completed every one of those passes.
Yeah. But Gronk dented the trophy, didn't he?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I think it's actually cooler to have the dented trophy because somebody was like, well, we got to get a new one. I was like, no, you keep that one. Your oaf of a tight end put a big dent in it. Come on. It's awesome. Okay. This Would You Rather, also going to apologize for it in advance. So this one always comes up during any time there is not just the Winter Olympics, but any skiing, anything. Somebody always makes this surface onto X or Instagram, whatever social media platform that they can put it on because it's absolute gold. Ironically, because the person in the video did not win gold. And in fact, the question for today is, JJ, would you rather be Lindsey Vonn and have your Olympics end the way that it did, being airlifted off the mountain? By the way, 2 airlifts in a weekend. That's going to cost you. Is it like the search and rescue teams here in Utah? They're like, you got to pay for that.
I hope she's got good insurance.
Yeah, that helicopter ride out of network. Oof.
Yeah.
You know? So would you rather be that injury to Lindsey Vonn or this now infamous injury on the hill during the World Championships of 2007?
Now it's the Frenchman, Yannick Bertrand. Through the S turn. Yannick Bertrand. Oh, the gate to the groin for Yannick Bertrand, and you could hear it. And if you're a man, you could feel it. Wow, watch this again. Oh, the Frenchman. Oh, monsieur. Wow, the boys took a beating on that one.
Oh, monsieur.
Oh, monsieur. So,
I'd rather
Lindsey
be
Vonn or Yannick Bertrand?
I'd rather be Lindsey Vonn,
Of course.
who competed with so much courage,
But that
so much bravery.
You don't think Yannick
like the ultimate
Bertrand?
competitor?
Come on. That took some courage.
Put it all out there, risked everything, knew the risks, knew what she was doing, and it went badly for her, but she has that pride that she can walk away with. I don't think Mr. Bertrand walked away with any pride. I don't think he walked away with any glory. He just walked away in pain.
Might not have walked away.
We don't know what happened to him. Is he still with us?
They had to put on one of those double illusions.
Is he on life support still after 19 years?
I bet Yannick Bertrand is like, I had a really good skiing career. This is what I'm remembered for.
I want to watch the documentary of Yannick Bertrand. Oh, monsieur.
Yeah, I'm going to see if he's still with us. Yeah, he's still with us. He, by the way, he got to compete in the 2006 Winter Olympics. That was, of course, the year before the World Championships. Not shockingly enough, there are links on his Wikipedia page that are basically only dedicated to this moment in his career. So, best he ever did was he placed 24th in the downhill and the Super G events in the 2006 Olympics in Vancouver. No, not Vancouver. It was the one in 2006.
Oh, man. What was that? Where was 2006? Lillehammer?
No, Lillehammer was 98.
I'll look it up. How can I not remember that?
I know. I'm kind of mad about it now.
Was it in Italy,
too?
too?
The one right after us.
Yeah.
It was 02. What did it do? Switzerland? I don't know. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll have
Torino. That was in Italy.
Tour in Italy. There you go.
Yes.
How far is Turin from Milan in Cortina? It's going to be right there.
It's got to be close.
Does Sam Farnsworth have to take nine buses to get there?
Well, it's not close. It's a 5-hour and 53-minute drive.
Yeah.
It is 536 kilometers. Do your conversion math. I have no idea what that is.
Like 290
But
miles.
they are actually, Turin is in western Italy.
Okay.
You know, people that are smart at those things know that.
Hey.
Know that. It's not far from Monaco. It's by the border of France.
There you go. This geography lesson brought to you by Jeremiah Jensen.
There you go. Cortina is almost in Austria.
Oh,
so you see the difference there.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back. And when we do, going to talk with Mitch Harper, BYU fresh off of a much needed win over Baylor. But I think people walked away from that game, and they had some suspicions about that one too. BYU, again, giving up 90-plus points, having a massive night from the Big Three, and still having a little bit of a struggle with Baylor on the road in the Big 12. So we'll chat with Mitch Harper, see where BYU basketball stands right now. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Can we just let Alex Kirry sing this song right now? Go ahed.
No, I don't know
any
of I don't know most of the
words. You don't need to know the lyrics. I don't know the lyrics
right,
either.
Here we go.
Can you hear any lyrics right now?
You lied to me. Yeah, you lied to me. That's
Little Bee Gees going on there.
I know.
You Barry Gibb?
Yeah, I can be. I got that.
Tucking it up on the Barry Gibb talk show. Talking about politics. There we go. Give me that Barry Gibb.
What I do is I sneak in a ton of cuss words when I don't know the words. It's good.
That's what Bad Bunny did at the Super Bowl. Yeah. None of us know because we couldn't understand anything. Naples would have to help us out. Well, you know Spanish.
I do. And
did he clean it up for the Super Bowl?
He kept it clean. The themes still weren't great.
The themes?
The themes are mostly about the womanizing.
Okay. Well, at least he didn't go pantsless like Donald Duck.
But hey, love is love, and
speaking of themes,
the best replacement of hate is love, et cetera, et cetera. Like
yeah.
a lot of love from Bad Bunny exclusively. All right, ladies. There you go. Yes, we're jumping in on this part of the program here. The double luge is still going on. I don't know what to tell you, everybody. I don't know. Shield your kids' eyes from it, but it's on TV right now.
In the middle of the day.
I know. The U.S. is doing.
Shame.
The U.S. is doing. Hey, I will encourage you to watch a lot going on tonight with the primetime Olympics because there's a lot of good stuff happening today. Good day for Team USA, man. I'm telling you. Jumping into the program right now, we're kicking off the hours we always do. It's the cut, top of the show here. Mitch Harper, our BYU insider for KSLSports.com. Let's get it right now.
It's time to get the inside info on BYU with Cougar insider Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. That's right. It's that time of the show for us to bring in our guy, Mitch Harper. Mitch, it's been a rough couple of weeks for the Cougs on the basketball court, but a much-needed win last night in Waco at Baylor. I could tell, right? We're watching this thing as soon as it tipped off in the studio here, and Baylor smelled blood in the water. They went right after them, and BYU had its signature down double digits in the first half. But unlike some of the other moments that they've had recently, they whittled that thing down before the half, and then it wasn't the comeback story the entire second half for BYU. How big of a deal was it for them to not just get that win, but for the Big Three to have 81 combined points down there at Baylor?
It was important just to get back in that win column because I think that now with the schedule, how it's set up, they probably should get a second straight win this Saturday against Colorado. And then I think it sets up an opportunity next week, a week from now, to go into Tucson and just play loose and play comfortable and just try to be as open-minded to an upset as you possibly can be going against Arizona. So it was needed. And I think the defense is still an issue for this BYU team, but you got some valuable contributions from Kennard Davis, who gave you some a nice offensive rebound with an and one late in that game. Hadim Boop off the bench. I thought his defense was something of note in that game, and he got 10 rebounds. So you got some contributions along with the Big Three. And I think BYU just reminded all of us that this is a team that, even though they're sliding a little bit after facing that gauntlet of a stretch in the Big 12, they still will be a tough out for anyone that they face. If they're a 6-11, seed, a 6 seed, that 3 seed, whoever that is, probably won't want to face an AJ DeBonsa and Richie Saunders and Rob Wright, because the firepower of this group, having 3 guys that can get you any 80 points on any night, that's something that very few, if any, can boast in this college basketball landscape this season. So it was a critical win for this team.
Good, solid win for BYU, a win they had to have in a tough place to play. It's not easy to go win at Baylor. I don't care what year it is. That was a good win. And your Big Three score 81 points. But, Mitch, my concern is 81 of your 99 points come from 3 guys. You're still not seeing the production that you're going to need from multiple guys other than those 3. How concerning is that moving forward? Is that sustainable?
It's definitely concerning, but, it's February 11th, and that's just what it is with this BYU team. It's going to be the Big Three. They need to score at least 75 points or more every single night. And on top of that, we're probably looking at a world where AJ DeBonsa and Rob Wright have to play all 40 minutes as they did last night.
Wow.
Because the bench is non-existent for this BYU team. I think Hadim Boop, again, can be someone that you can turn to consistently. I think that Kennard Davis, if he can give you the contributions that he did last night, that's valuable because he's always going to get open looks. And if he can knock down 2 or 3 3-pointers per game, that would be huge for BYU. But you go through this bench, I think Bidu Ahmed, the former G League player, I thought last night wasn't the right matchup, and I think that's what helped BYU with Boop coming off the bench. Thought it was a good matchup for him, but I think Bidu, at times, he can be a good rim protector in relief of Keba Keita. Mihailo Boskovic, he's always willing to fire up a 3, but outside of that, there's just nothing that you can really count on night after night from this bench. It's the top 3, the Big 3, and then you just hope that, some of the other guys perform. But I just think that's what it is with this team. And the thing is that a lot of college basketball teams, with their roster and revenue sharing, you're kind of seeing a lot of teams, Texas Tech, Houston, Baylor, they're pretty much playing 6 or 7 man rotations, if that, because they allocated a lot of resources to the top end of their roster, and BYU is in that same boat. You're going to go with the guys that you're paid the premium for, and that's AJ DeBonsa, Richie Saunders, and Rob Wright. They got to carry you, and they got to stay healthy, and that's the key, because there's still a lot of tough games ahead. But I just think that's kind of what it is for this BYU team. You can't expect much from this bench at this point.
I don't mean to totally single him out, but I think it's just that bigger problem of the defensive side of things. Keba Keita is one of those guys that at the beginning of the year had that, he's on the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year watch list. And, now I think about a game last night, it seems to be kind of what we've seen out of this team. I just don't know where the defense has gone or the comfortability. It just looks like he's not as comfortable and as loose playing Keba Keita right now. I don't know where that production has gone. And so not even from the offensive side of things, he's good to give you 8-10 points a game usually. And he'll rebound, but he hasn't been doing much of either. And then the blocks don't really come at the pace that they used to come for him. So what's Keba Keita's deal this year?
It has been a little bit concerning the past few games, especially that Houston game where he was 1 of 6 from the field, because he's one of the all-time best field goal shooters in BYU history, because when he puts up a shot, it's going to be a high percentage look, and it's always around the rim. I think one of the big things too with Keba Keita's maybe not as great of an impact, at least in the offensive end, and at times defensively. Offensively, the spacing sometimes isn't as open as what we saw last year with Yegor Dioman. This year, Rob Wright's a paint-touching guard where he's going to slither into the paint, and he's going to kind of occupy that space. You're not seeing as many alley-oops like you saw with Yegor Dioman or Dallin Hall a season ago to Keba Keita. We haven't seen that as often. And then Keita too, he had an injury earlier in the year. He had some illnesses. It's been some up and down availability for him. But he's got to get right, because when you talk about the rim protection, that's his strength. And he had a few blocks last night, but it's got to go to a higher level, I think, against the great teams, because right now BYU's 6 wins against Big 12 competition, they've all come against teams that are in the bottom 9 of the league. And, 3 of those wins are against the bottom 2 teams in Utah and Kansas State. So there's not a signature win yet. Last night was the first quad 1 victory in 2 months since the victory over Clemson. But, Keba Keita's got to be important for this BYU team, because when he brings that intensity on the defensive end, it just does so much for this BYU team, because you can't ask AJ for what he gives every single night on the offensive end. There's going to be a little bit of sacrificing on the defensive side. That's where Keba Keita can pick up the slack. A 3-and-D guy like a Kennard Davis picks up the slack on the defensive side, because so much is asked on the offensive end from BYU's big 3, in particular AJ DeBonsa.
Rob Wright had a great night last night in his return to Baylor. I know that was a big night for him. I know there was a lot of energy in that building directed towards him. How do you think he handled all that, and what did he say after the game about it?
It was his best game as a BYU player, because this BYU team in Big 12 play, they've turned the ball over a lot. You go back a week ago against Oklahoma State, he and AJ DeBonsa combined for 10 turnovers between the 2 of them. Rob had 5 and AJ had 5. Last night against Baylor, only 2 turnovers, one of which was late. They kind of kept Baylor a little bit within striking distance, but I thought he had great composure, and I thought great decision-making. Now, Baylor's not great at generating turnovers, but I thought that, Rob Wright did a good job of taking care of the basketball, and he was efficient too, and he was attacking and getting to the hoop, because, again, that's where he is at his best, getting into the paint, attacking the rim, and finishing. He's had so many shots around the rim this year that just miss. I'd have to go and count the missed layups or missed bunnies from Rob Wright. There's been many where his scoring totals could be a lot higher this season, but he was efficient last night. And I got to think that playing his former program, going up against Scott Drew, who said leading up to that game, yeah, players come and go, but you wish they wouldn't leave after signing a contract. Scott Drew put that out there. There was probably a little bit extra intensity. Rob Wright's a man of few words in these post-game pressers, and he kind of kept that calling card in this one. But even Kevin Young said that the Baylor fans were pretty classy, as he put it. And that's maybe a low bar when having a BYU game, considering BYU walks into some buzzsaws when it comes to chants. But Baylor fans were pretty classy, even to the point where you heard a lot of BYU fans making their presence felt in that gym that only holds 7,500. So it was a good night all around, I think, for BYU.
Well, Baylor fans just didn't want to get fined.
They're all, you guys. I love how there's like a thing at every game now. They like have somebody. It was like some coaches. It was some like athletic directors. Now they're like trying to bring back like celebrities that are like from those schools. Are all. And I just want to remind everybody, when BYU comes here, let's not embarrass ourselves. All right, let's stand up for Baylor. And you're like, oh my gosh, like what is going on?
Every team has a celebrity BYU apologist that has to say something before the game. Please don't say anything bad about the LDS Church.
You cannot. You
don't want to get fined tonight.
It's like every other. I would imagine that people are like wondering after every game, Mitch. They're like, I wonder if Mitch is going to write a blank BYU article after this one, because I think I heard it. I think I may have heard it. And it's like, oh, not another one. All right. Facing the team right now is maybe some, they got this Colorado game to maybe get right a little bit. And they do. The rest of conference play, I mean, none of these games are going to be gimmies or easy. A lot of them have a lot of folks who are ranked, and it's still going to be difficult. How can they, obviously winning at Arizona is like, that's a tall ask. But what about the ones that along the way get them to the spot where people go, okay, now they're back to what we think is a team that could be a Sweet 16 or Elite 8 team?
I think BYU could finish 6-1 in the final 7.
Wow.
I think that the game that will be the must win to get a signature victory for BYU is going to be Iowa State. Saw last night Iowa State lost to TCU. Iowa State's kind of been up and down with their offense, and maybe the perfect cure for offensive woes is facing BYU, but I think that BYU can put up a lot of points. And I think, being in the Marriott Center, BYU's had Iowa State's number, whether it was Mark Pope or Kevin Young last year. They swept the Cyclones a season ago in Ames and Kansas City. I think that's a winnable game, even though Iowa State has at times looked really good, and defensively, they're one of the best in the country. There's going to be tough games at West Virginia and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, despite their issues, they're one of the top 10 defenses in college basketball, and then Texas Tech to close out the regular season. But I think there is a path to going 6-1 because 4 of the last 7 are at the Marriott Center. You like that setup. That Arizona game, that's just, to me, an automatic L. I'd be really stunned if they won that game. But I think BYU, if they could go 6-1 somehow, and that's a real optimistic outlook, but I think it could be done. Then you're getting into that protected seed territory at the 4 seed line. And I think for BYU, that's critical, because if you get into the top 16 seeds, you're not allowing the committee to entertain the dropping a seed line because of no Sunday play. You're protected with one of those seeds where you slide them into Portland as a 4 seed or a 3 seed, whatever that looks like. Whereas if you get outside that top 16, say you're a 5 seed, you might drop to a 6 or a 7 because you got to factor in BYU into the Sunday conversation, and you're not going to give them priority over a 3 seed or a 4 seed. So it's important for BYU to climb the seed lines again. Right now, they're pretty much a 5 or a 6 seed, depending on what brackets you look at. But there's opportunities to get quad 1 victories. You got 5 quad 1 games remaining as of now. And I think, outside of the Arizona game, if BYU's big 3 show up like they did last night, they could take down anyone outside of Arizona remaining on the schedule.
No, you're right. I'm looking at it. I think you're absolutely right. It's not going to be easy, but 6-1 is definitely possible with having Iowa State and Texas Tech at home. It'd be really tough to think that they could win in Tucson against that juggernaut that is Arizona. And 6-1 puts BYU in a really good spot at the end of the season with some quality wins. And it would put A.J. DeBonsa in a really good spot. It's interesting. You have the contrast of Darren Peterson sitting out games while DeBonsa's playing 40 minutes and giving it everything he's got. I think he's earning a lot of respect, not just in the college basketball world, but with the NBA. What is playing like this many minutes doing for him in his future or award consideration? Because it's quite remarkable what he's doing with what's being asked of him with this team.
Well, I think what's been so impressive about AJ, I think that's caught maybe everyone a little bit by surprise. We saw signs of this during his time at Utah Prep, watching many of his games in his one season with them. But he really does want to get his teammates involved. He is willing to pass the ball and pass it at a high level. Last night, he had 7 assists. I mean, he will find the open guy, and he wants to get his teammates involved. Guy's got to knock down shots. I go back to the game at Kansas. He has only 1 assist. That wasn't an issue of him not passing the ball. It was simply guys weren't hitting 3-point shots when he was finding them. AJ will make, his teammates better, and I think there's still a little bit of chemistry being developed with this BYU team. I think the one missing piece for AJ to really get the momentum built for him as maybe I don't say a lock to be a number 1 pick, but to be viewed as the number 1 prospect is for him to have a 36-point game against one of the big dogs in the Big 12, because all these games, 43 against Utah, 36 against Baylor. Yes, it's Baylor, and they've got NBA players with Yesufu and Carr, but to have a big game against someone that's viewed as one of the national title contenders. He did it kind of against UConn. It was primarily in the second half where he ended up with 25 points. But again, in the Big 12 play against the biggest teams, he's been kind of controlled a bit against Houston and against Kansas and Arizona. So that's going to be the thing for him, leading BYU to a big victory. I think that's where, like an Iowa State, or if he somehow pulled off a massive upset at Arizona and had a big stat line, I think then you're starting to talk about him as a, number 1 guy. Because I think that Kansas game, it was the ultimate prospect matchup. And I think just when Darren Peterson was cooking the way that he was for that 7-minute stretch in the first half, and AJ wasn't responding, I think people made a lot of narrative conclusions in that moment. But AJ has been really tough. I think back to a game against TCU where he takes a hard fall on his right shoulder, and you could tell in that game it was bothering him, yet he didn't come out and he kept playing, and he played the next game with blue tape on that right shoulder against Texas Tech, which coincidentally was his lowest scoring output of 13 points this season. AJ's always there, and he's available, and he's really kind of embraced BYU, which, again, I think for Cougar fans, I think they were thinking a lot of, this 5-star player. BYU's never had a talent like this with so many accolades coming into the program. Will it just be all about him? It really hasn't, even though that he is a massive story every single time he touches the floor. He really is a guy that kind of fits at BYU, as crazy as that sounds, and it's worked quite well. And BYU, though, has got to make a run in the NCAA tournament to really maximize this opportunity to have a generational player like AJ DeBonsa.
Mitch, before we get you out here, I just want to ask you about, we had this discussion yesterday with Jonathan Tavernari about, the top-end talent is unquestionable about how good these guys are at the very top, and the bench, as you alluded to, is not great in comparison. How does KY flip that narrative? Obviously, you just go, well, you recruit a lot of other guys. It's like, it's a little bit easier said than done. So how can he make that work? Because you're working into a time where you're going to see the best player in the history of BYU be here for 1 year and leave. A lot of other names, obviously Richie Saunders not going to be back. So how do they replace top-end talent, but also make sure that they don't just have 3 guys every year that are going to be the ones that you hang your hat on?
Well, when you look at next year, I mean, BYU's in the mix for Bruce Branch, the third, who's viewed as possibly the number 1 draft pick in 2027. He took a visit to BYU, an official visit, a couple of weeks ago, and BYU is in the thick of that recruiting battle. And if they got someone like him, you're talking about potentially another AJ type of guy at BYU, and you've got a good stable of young personnel. I think that some of the misevaluations have happened. I think Kevin Young is still learning about college basketball. I think he even saw that last night when it came to the way that he's choosing to call timeouts. I think he's still learning about going into road venues. You need to be strategic with your timeouts. I think when it comes to learning about college basketball, figuring out ways to build out rosters, and you can't just take the NBA approach to the college game when constructing our rosters. Some of these guys, like a Tyler Maruss, was viewed to step right in and be a lights out 3-point shooter. That hasn't happened at all. And then they had injuries with a Dawson Baker and Nate Pickens before the season. Those were massive losses that in the moment, I think we thought BYU will be okay because the rest of this bench is going to play out. But those injuries were huge. They do next year get the number 1 JUCO player in the country and KJ Perry to line up in the backcourt. I think they're, again, Kevin Young, thing about him is like he'll figure out ways, whatever ends up happening this year with this team. I think he'll adjust and he will find ways to get the personnel necessary to find that sweet spot between a lot of depth. Like last year's team had 11 guys, but they didn't have maybe Richie was a superstar, but they didn't have much after him that you could rely on every single night, which is strange to say considering Yegor was on that team, but he was inconsistent in the college game. This year, it's more just the top three. Finding that happy spot next year will kind of be the challenge for KY, but I'd be pretty confident that he figures that out. And I think he's still kind of learning kind of the ebbs and flows of college basketball. And he's been pretty candid about that too. And as he continues to learn on the job, he'll make the necessary adjustments. I think Kevin Young's the perfect fit at BYU to really identify personnel, build out rosters, and really enhance relationships. Because if you are a promising NBA draft prospect, what he's done with AJ shouldn't deter you. And same with Richie Saunders. The proof of concept is there that he's going to get you to the league. It's just now kind of finding that depth in the future to do that. And they've kind of got some pieces next year that would suggest they should be a little bit deeper, but we shall see.
Mitch Harper, he's our BYU insider for KSLSports.com. Mitch, as always, awesome to have you on. We appreciate it, and we'll chat with you again, man, pretty soon here.
You bet, guys. Take care.
There you go.
Mitch.
Mitch Harper. Yeah, it's a weird thing. I think people, because of the success, isn't it hard when you have such good success that first year and then people go, just do that again. Now you got better players. Do it again better.
Hey, that's how it works. You want those kind of expectations.
Yeah.
And I think Kevin Young embraces that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. We have a high payroll. We're only recruiting top 100 guys. So the expectation is going to be that you're competing for a national championship. And what we've seen from BYU recently was not good enough to even be in that conversation. So it was fair to criticize. It was fair to wonder and look at things like, what's going on here? Because this is not the bar that BYU itself set for itself going into the season. When you have the number one player in the country, when you've got Richie Saunders, who's an NBA talent, when you got Rob Wright, who's one of the best point guards in the country, the expectations are high. Here's the problem with college basketball. Even in this era where if you got money, you can go out and get the highest players, you can't pay everybody, and you can't have 8 deep. It's not the NBA. So you're not going to have great bench because there's not a lot of great players out there that want to sit on come off the bench. They're getting paid somewhere else. So it's not just BYU. Like Arizona, and we saw Kansas have depth. How many teams in the country have true depth? Not many. Those teams are competing for a national championship. Yeah. So that's where we've been a little critical of BYU, but BYU's got the same problem that 98% of all college basketball teams have.
It's just it is wild to see. It's wild to see that you can have all this talent assembled on one floor. I mean, you had the same thought I did, which was, you get another 36 from AJ. You get 30 from Rob Wright, which is the best he's ever had. And then you end up,
you barely win on the road against a team that's in the bottom third of the league right now as far as the standings go.
And what did Richie have? He had 15 or something like that? Yeah. So
81 of 99 points scored by 3 guys. I think it's not a lot to ask like a Kebaketa to get at least 8 or 10, or some of those guys he talked about off the bench. Somebody's got to step up.
1 rebound, by the way, last night for Kebaketa.
He's got to be better. He was very key last year.
Yeah.
He has been missing a lot this year.
Yeah. We'll take a break. We'll come back. When we do, have a couple things going. I've got some tickets to give away for you because it is a Win Ticket Wednesday. We're also going to listen to some audio of the people who are whining across the National Basketball Association writers. All the people who are so upset at the Jazz. I can't believe the Jazz are doing this crazy thing. We'll talk about that next. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. I have some audio for you to listen to in just a little while. It's going to be of Jaren Jackson Jr. and the media availability you've had. Of course, it took a few days, but they're finally playing basketball here in the state of Utah over here at Delta Center. Tonight it's going to be against the Sacramento Kings, who are in the lead for the worst team in the Western Conference, but maybe in the entire league.
They stink.
Yeah. Okay. And they're playing the Jazz tonight.
Like cabbage.
You're going to have the cabbage has a stink to it, but it tastes good. I like cabbage.
We'll agree to disagree on that.
Okay. But I also have some other audio, and that is more complaining across the board. The Utah Jazz have been decided on by the national media for everyone to make an example of.
Specifically at ESPN. Right?
It's very weird.
Are you seeing anybody outside of ESPN really going all in on the Jazz? Why is it ESPN?
Yeah. We played this one with Bobby Marks yesterday, and it obviously got a lot of play, but this is what the one yesterday that kind of kicked off everything was from him.
I think what Utah is doing right now is messing around with the integrity of the NBA. The ability to sit players, starters, in the fourth quarter, to not call timeouts in the fourth quarter. Orlando won the game on Saturday because they basically rested players, and it backfired on them last night. So I think if you're the league, you're looking at it. All right, can we do some gimmicks? Can we alter protections and eliminate protections as far as picks? Or can we put the hammer down?
Yeah, put the hammer down. Oh, yeah.
Just
Bring
on one team,
down.
Not the other 10 that are doing the same stuff?
Bring the hammer
Actually
down.
worse, they're not even playing their guys?
I think Adam Silver hears that and kind of goes, oh, gosh. Like the league, by the way, the league does not think it's, like Adam Silver's not sitting there going, the integrity's been compromised by the league. They made the rules. They made the rules. And say what you will about how things went with the draft lottery last year. We watched that thing, and I don't care what you say about it and how weird the whole thing went down. It's a small jump into NBA, it's pub. You know what I mean? All of it is made for television, by the way. It's not like the draft lottery is not going to get a ton of ratings, but you know what it is? We watched the heck out of that thing when it was going on, and it was like watching one of your teams get beat in a massive upset, where you're like, jaw on the floor, cannot believe that just happened. And this is what the NBA has set up. I know that they don't love it. By the way, there are 32 teams in the league, and not all of them are going to be...
There's 30, but yeah.
Or 30 teams in the league. Not all of them are going to be competitive night to night or week to week or year to year. And it's unfortunate, but all 30 teams are not going to win this thing. In fact, you're going to get most of them at the very bottom who are going to say, how can we get better? And the NBA has made it clear. There are a handful of ways that you can get better. And the league overall, I think, does a really good job of making there different ways for you to be able to build a roster, to be able to make yourself. The league wants the Jazz to become competitive. And by the way, more than anybody, the Jazz want to make themselves competitive. Okay?
And they've paid their dues. They've had some really rough years.
Okay. Here's Wendy, because we wouldn't be following the narrative here at the big ESPN without Wendy getting involved and also throwing his disgust Utah's way.
It's not just Utah. Utah is being the most egregious of it, but there are multiple teams that are trading for players and immediately saying that they're injured and keeping them out for long periods of time. It's not just Utah using starters and then shutting them down. What Utah has done has been more egregious because they've had players who have been playing very well, and then they bench them for the fourth quarter. Their coach, as Bobby mentioned, Will Hardy, will sometimes literally just put his hands in his pockets and not call timeouts as the team gets steamrolled over. And that's where the transition has happened. Tanking historically has been done on the inactive list. The players in the games are always playing to win, and once a player is on the active list, you rarely see them, not go full out. What's happening here is that they're putting the reins on players who are active in games, and that's the next step. And something very interesting happened yesterday. It's an important game in the tanking standings. Tonight, Utah is playing Sacramento. These are two teams that are vying to get one of those top picks. And initially, when the Jazz put out their injury report yesterday, they listed Lauri Markkanen, who has barely been playing, out for rest. And then an hour or so later, they changed their injury report and said he's actually not going to rest, he's going to play. So what happened there? Did something happen behind the scenes? We'll see. Adam Silver will address the media, and I promise you will address these questions this week at All-Star Weekend. But I'm going to say, you can't put rules in that don't exist, and the Jazz are following the rules. They are activating healthy players and playing them, and they're just not playing them all out. So I don't think anything can be done in the next 10 minutes that's going to affect it. But something got the Jazz to make Lauri Markkanen active yesterday. I'm interested to find out more about that.
Oh, yeah. Ask the question. Adam Silver, what happened with Lauri Markkanen 7 days ago when he was inactive and listed as active again? What happened? Come on. Oh, yeah, they're going to ask him the tough questions. They're going to ask the commissioner the tough questions. When did tanking start, JJ? Like, how long has it been going on?
For 40 years.
Okay.
So 1984. Really good draft class. Do you know who was in that 1984 draft class?
Jordan, Dominique.
You missed the number 1 pick.
Oh,
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
In 1984, nobody knew Michael Jordan was going to be Michael Jordan, but everybody wanted Hakeem Olajuwon, including the Houston Rockets. Where did Hakeem Olajuwon play his college basketball?
Yeah, down at
Houston.
Slamma-Jamma.
Houston did everything they could, and Houston was a good team in the 80s, remember? They were in the finals in 1980. I believe they got back to the finals in 86 after they paired Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon together.
Bad.
Remember the Twin Towers?
Not bad.
Houston tanked in 1983-84 season to get Hakeem Olajuwon, and they did it. They had the worst record, and they got it. The NBA is like, we got to stop this. So we're going to do this different. We're going to have a lottery. And then 1985, the lottery started. Right out of the gate, you ever heard of the frozen envelope with the New York Knicks? The Knicks getting Patrick Ewing, the marquee franchise in the biggest city in the country getting Patrick Ewing.
Georgetown's,
There has been conspiracy theories and problems tied to this process ever since then. Why? Because one player makes all the difference, and all 30 teams want that star guy. What did the Spurs do for both David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and Victor Wembanyama? The Spurs, what did they do? They deliberately tanked in those seasons to get those players, and it worked out for them. And everyone else is watching what the Spurs did, and that's how we do it.
So why is he saying that it's so much more egregious with Utah doing it?
I have no idea. Here, do you want to talk about egregious? Here's egregious. The Washington Wizards go out and trade for Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Both are healthy enough to play. Have they played a minute for the Wizards yet? No. Why? Why have those two players, those two star players, not played? At least the Jazz are rolling out Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George before he sprained his ankle for 3 quarters. At least the fans are getting 3 quarters of these great players. The Wizards aren't even rolling out their guys at all.
Yeah.
The Pacers just got Ivica Zubats at the trade deadline. A sneaky great move. For next year, do you think he's going to play this year? Absolutely not. They're trying to tank. Do you know who the Kings have on their roster? Domantas Sabonis. Who else is out tonight?
Is he active tonight?
Who else is out tonight? And how many of them really hurt?
Yeah,
okay?
on a 12-win team.
BS.
Yeah.
All right, and why are you picking on the Jazz? The Jazz are egregious?
He just kept saying the most.
The
but
Jazz
that's the most
are
egregious.
at least the Jazz are playing their guys. At least the people that go to watch and pay to watch these games are getting 3 quarters of the Jazz best lineup. The Jazz are tanking. Yes, absolutely. Does that suck? Absolutely. Are the Jazz doing anything wrong? No, because this is how the league has operated for 40 years. At no time has anybody who runs that league done anything to change it. Not one solution that's worked. In fact, it's been harder to tank lately because in the past, the Jazz would have had a 20% chance to win last year's lottery. They didn't have any more close to those odds, even though they had the worst record in the league. And they end up 5th. Even that's not enough to discourage these teams from tanking. Why? Because it's so important to at least have a chance to get the best player in a generational draft. And guess what we have in 2026? A generational draft. A.J. Debonsa, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, and the list doesn't stop there. Caleb Wilson, the Wagler kid from Illinois, that Mikel Brown Jr. kid at Louisville went for 45 the other night.
Yep.
This draft is stacked. That's why there's 8 to 10 teams trying to tank because they don't even care about getting the number 1 pick this year. Last year was all about number 1. It was all about flag. This year it's about 8 or 9 guys. And the Jazz have to keep that pick. They have to because they don't want to lose it to the Thunder because they want to be in the mix. Now, it's top 8 protected, but even then they want to keep it because that's how good this draft is. Yep. And the Jazz are doing what any smart team would. So stop picking on the Jazz. Everybody's doing it. Start picking on the Wizards who have 2 All-Stars and they're not playing them a minute. That's egregious.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We have a top 10. It's Winter Olympics related. I'll say that. More to go around the corner. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Hey, by the way, the KSL Sports Zone, as always, is honoring people who make that sports youth impact in their communities. The way we do it is you nominate that youth sports volunteer at kslsports.com/contests for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week program. And then every Thursday we read off those winners. We give them love on social media. And then we, of course, throw their way $250 to Beehive Meals. So there you go. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week program. So just kslsports.com/contests and go nominate somebody today. By the way, speaking of winning some stuff, how about caller number 12 right now on a Win Ticket Wednesday to win a pair of tickets to Brian Regan coming up this Saturday at Delta Center. Yes, Saturday is February 14th. February 14th, of course, is Valentine's Day. Win some tickets right now. You'll be the hero. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE, or you can get those tickets at SeatGeek.com. JJ, quick top 10. This is one I was going to try to attempt to make you roll out for yourself, but it's just too difficult of a category. And so,
wow,
yes,
really?
It's too difficult of a
category. Didn't think I was up to the challenge, huh?
Well, it's not that. It's we don't have time to go through.
Am I struggling so bad? You're like trying to dumb this down a little bit?
No. Because I don't, and nobody in their right minds would know. Some of these you'd know, but it's just trying to pair together a top 10. And it's interesting. So here we go. A top 10 that is basically just going to be an education. Okay.
All right.
These are the top 10 Winter Olympic sports that do not exist anymore. Okay.
Okay.
Now, interestingly enough, the funny thing about these are some of them are, we have versions of it, but here we go. You ready for this? I actually asked somebody this the other day, and I wonder why they don't do it anymore. And we actually, I think, thought about it over the airways as well. But dog sled racing. What's going on here?
Right. No Iditarod.
No Iditarod. It would be cool. And by the way, you know what people love? The freaking dogs, man.
Absolutely. Seems like a no-brainer.
And those guys, you think about the stories that Matt Gephardt would be rolling out with the sad music of, and that's when they lost the first puppy in the litter. And then it's like you have the story of I didn't want to go.
Does that happen in the Iditarod?
No, and I'm
Dogs
just saying.
dying?
No. But tragedy strikes the kennel, and then they come back and win silver.
Tragedy strikes the kennel. What a comeback story for the ages.
Okay, my sister's family was watching the Olympics with us the other day, and my niece was like, "Why does everybody's parent had to die before we kind of respect that they're athletes anymore?" I'm like, I get it. We have to make these.
It's competitive.
We have to make these.
You got to have a sad story in order to make it.
Yes, that's exactly right. So dog sled racing, ski ballet, which actually lasted 3 Olympics.
Miss it.
You don't like it?
Yeah, miss it.
Bandy. Any idea what bandy is?
No idea.
Okay.
Never would have got that.
Okay, it is basically ice hockey, but on snow, on packed down snow.
That's dumb.
So you're not skating; you're running around with regular
on snowshoes or something.
Some kind of it's something that runs around on snow.
How about snowshoeing?
But you're hitting. It's like field hockey, but with a ball and on top of snow.
Snowshoeing
with a ball.
No, is snowshoeing on the list?
Snowshoeing is on the list. Yeah, snowshoeing.
You don't see that anymore.
But it actually never was officially an event. It was a demonstration event back in the 1932, and I guess it didn't even make it that far after everything was said and done.
Dumb.
I don't know what this is. Ice stock sport, which is Bavarian curling, which didn't outlast the real curling.
Wow.
So there you go. Skijoring, we talked about. You know what skijoring actually is, though?
Explain.
It's athletes being skied by being on skis being pulled by horses. We need this.
Sounds like something we used to do in Star Valley, Wyoming.
I was gonna say. They said pulled by horses or dogs. I was like, these are some amazing dogs.
Or trucks.
Now this one sounds like a cool event. Military patrol.
That was an event.
Yeah. Precursor to biathlon.
Help me understand that.
Yeah, precursor to biathlon. It was skiing and rifle shooting, but it also had snow mountaineering. That's intense.
That sounds awful.
It's terrible. Like the amount of cardio that these guys do just for like the biathlon and for the cross-country skiing, crazy.
Anything on a snowmobile that used to take place.
Oh, now that would be cool. And then the winter pentathlon, any of the downhill.
Is there 5 events
there
you
is
put together that
downhill?
you would do?
But again, amazing. Downhill skiing, cross-country skiing.
Oh, my gosh.
Are you ready for this one? Ice fencing.
Whoa.
Fencing on the ice might be the most bad A thing I've ever heard.
Fencing on the ice?
Yeah. Shooting and then horse riding.
Dang.
So, yeah, those are events that no longer exist.
I'm kind of curious to watch
I
that.
actually would like to see that one. And
Sounds
again,
like an action movie or
also
something.
sounds expensive. Like get the horse out, get the fencing equipment out, get the guns out. All right.
That's wild.
Okay. There's your events. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go around the corner. We'll get you ready for Jazz basketball coming up in the 6 o'clock hour. So we're going to talk a lot of Jazz. You'll be able to hear, if you haven't, our first conversations, our first being able to hear from the media from Jaren Jackson Jr. as he's here in Utah now. So stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
You know what's coming.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time.
All season long and even in the off season. It's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. Of course, if you hear that Grammy-nominated question mark opening, I bet
Dave Tesh won a Grammy, right?
Just Dave. John still hasn't won his yet. So we'll see.
There's still time.
Do they give out? I mean, there's some awards for like the music that opens up sporting events, right?
Gotta
Or
be.
the like
Gotta
stuff
be.
on networks. Has to be.
Gotta be.
Because you think about it, like John Williams does all the Olympic stuff.
Yeah.
And Jurassic Park. You know, so wide range there. And he's won stuff for Jurassic Park. Well, what about the Olympics? You know? So I would assume that song, Round Ball Rock, has to be, if it's not Grammy nominated, there's other awards that should have
With
won,
or without the lyrics.
Well, the lyrics are inappropriate, so you got to bleep some of those out. We got lots to get through here. Well, as we walk you up to Jazz coverage, of course, coming up at the 6 o'clock hour. We're going to kick off the program as we always do right here with the cut. So let's jump in right here because, you know, it's got a sponsor and everything. We want to make sure and give them their due. Here you go.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. TRAJANwealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. It's TrajanWealth.com. Okay. And also brought to you by the awesome folks at Hercules First Federal Credit Union. Growing stronger together. JJ, let me see here. First time for us to be able to hear, while he's here in the state of Utah, the newest member of the Utah Jazz, one of the newest members of the Utah Jazz. He is, of course, Jaren Jackson Jr., who had his media availability today. First time we got to hear from him here in the state of Utah, and he's going to be playing his very first game. Wait, has he been scratched? Healthy scratch tonight? No, regular. Okay, available.
Egregious.
Come on. He's available. So here's what we're going to get. We're going to roll out for you the very first press conference for Jaren Jackson Jr. given today. This is your newest Jazz man and one of the better players across the league that was dealt during the trade deadline. Here you go.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple of days I wasn't even with them. They were on the road, and I was able to go to Salt Lake with Jitty and Vince, and we're kind of just, you know, taking it all in and getting our minds right. But, you know, after that, meeting them in Orlando, in Miami, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, you guys know them better than me, but they just seem like great guys, and they play together as a unit, and they, you know, it's just been a great experience. Made me feel welcome, everything.
You've played against this team for 8 years, and you've played in this arena. What do you think it's going to be like when the fans kind of greet you and give you your official welcome to Utah?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's probably going to be loud. Every time I've come here, it's never been quiet. A lot of energy all the time. So, yeah, I think I'm mainly excited for that, to have it on my side a little bit. Usually you're anticipating it, trying to work through it as an opponent, but, you know, now it's with me.
The Jazz obviously acquired you, not just for this season, with an eye toward the future. How do you feel like you kind of fit in terms of your skill set what you feel like your role on this team is going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I feel like I'm versatile. I feel like I can do a lot of things, and this system is a different offense than anything I've played in before. But it's something that I think teams and me in particular not have had trouble guarding, but definitely locked into guarding. I think it's a system with a lot of movement, especially offensively, and I think I can bring a lot to the table. Learning more about it every day, I learn a little bit more. So, asking me right now about it is a little bit tough, but I'm still learning like a couple things every day that would be unique to me in the system that's going to help me.
What's it like playing alongside Larry? I mean, he has a lot of size. He's a potent weapon on offense as well.
I mean, there's not much he can't do on the floor, which definitely helps everybody on the team. And I think just being a threat from everywhere, you can't go under. When he puts the ball on the floor, you have to respect him. When you're driving at him, you have to kind of make a choice, stay home, or it's kind of lights out with him. It's been crazy to play against him for this many years and seeing him improve. And then, at this point in our careers, playing with each other, I think it's nice.
There's kind of been a lot of talk league-wide about you guys sitting in the fourth quarters of the last couple games. I'm curious, how do you feel about it?
I mean, as a player, you always want to be out there, but if you're out in the first quarter, out in the second quarter, third or fourth, I mean, you just have to make an impact when you're in the game. That's what you have to focus on. If you focus on when you're not out there, you're gonna struggle as a player. If you're a rookie, a young guy, you wanted to play in the first half and you didn't, or whatever, you play in the third, like all that comes into play, man. You have to. This is my 8th year, so stuff getting thrown at me. I feel like I have enough experience to be mentally capable through anything.
When you look at where you started in this league, kind of as a teenager, and now you're 26, 27.
What am I? Something like that.
Something like that.
26. Yeah.
But you're rounding into the prime of your career. I mean, what's that journey been like for you? Starting out so young in Memphis, and honestly going to a franchise. Obviously the geographic part is different, but a lot of similarities between the franchise that you're going to as opposed to when you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's been feels like 3 years, but it's been 8, and yeah, I'm blessed to be able to be here like this. People who get closer and closer to a decade in a year, that's special. You're in rare company at that point, and there's so many people I could give credit for helping me get to this point. But yeah, I'll probably save that for a speech down the line or something. But I just, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed for everything that's happened to me up to this point. Everybody who's believed in me and helped me work on my game and trusted in me, and I feel like I've gotten better every year, and I want to continue that, no matter how old I get. So yeah.
You know what it's like to be on a playoff contender. Maybe not this year, but where do you see the trajectory of this team? Do you think this team with a full off season with these guys, this could be a playoff team as early as next year?
100%. I mean, my goal is to come here and win a championship here. So I don't really think my mind is geared toward anything else. That's just kind of the mentality that I have. And then when you look at who we have, like, I really like what I see.
You mentioned getting better every year. This staff prides themselves on player improvement. What's your relationship been like with Will? We saw you out there talking with him after shoot around, but it's early. But what are your thoughts about him and the coaching staff?
Yeah, I mean, our relationship started like hour 2, so it's probably the second person I talked to when I got back to my house on the phone, after seeing everybody and my own staff and everybody else, and it was a whirlwind at first for sure, but they had a game that day, and we had a game that day, and I was talking to him just about how the day is going, honestly. But right now, it's a lot of X and O's, how he sees me in certain systems, and I'm just learning terminology, the plays, different options, different reads. And then I'm kind of shooting ideas that I've had about certain things and just how we approach, practice and the games. And it really comes from a lot of me asking questions to learn about what they were doing before I was here. So, we're talking about everything. Great relationship.
At 26 and 8 years in the league, you're a younger coach. How would you describe your leadership style?
I like to lead by example. I think being year 8, the league's getting younger and younger, and everybody's just kind of like these guys are young. So I think just leading by example, my work ethic, and that's kind of like the main thing, being vocal, especially defensively. I think that's where you really can make your mark. If I were to give advice to somebody for anything, to really make your mark defensively, because that's where you can be the most vocal. Offensively, you can talk offensively, but there's a lot more moving around, a lot more things you got to focus on. But if you can disrupt the other team with your voice and communicate to the guards and communicate to anybody, that's going to mess up your opponent. It's going to help us. So, yeah, just being vocal.
Looking at next year, you won't see it this year, of course, but playing with Walker Kessler might be one of the better defensive centers you played with. You might be at your best at a roaming forward kind of role defensively. Are you excited for that pairing with him?
Yeah, I mean, I've played with Walt before in USA, so I know what he brings to the table, and he's hard to score over. So I'm glad I'm on this side of it, and I'm glad, they're going to see me, they're going to see him, they're going to have to make choices. That's what it's really all about, making the other team make choices and giving our team a ton of them.
Curious what your perception of Utah was and the Jazz organization as an outsider for 8 years, and what have you, is there anything different that you've learned since the short time you've been here?
I think, everybody's pretty nice. I think it's a very, I don't know if it's a homey kind of vibe when you're driving around. It feels pretty homey. I don't think I got out the hotel much when I was, well, actually, that's not true. I've been here for All-Star. Summer League, I was here. I know about Park City. I know, it's beautiful views. I used to come here to ski when I was younger with my mom. So, yeah, I do kind of know. I don't think when I was younger I was paying much attention. But, yeah, I think we're selling out games. I think just the fan engagement and everybody just being happy, and the reception I've already gotten has been great. So I really appreciate that. That goes a long way for me. And it was hard to breathe. So I'm glad to get that on my side too and get adjusted to that. So everybody else got to deal with that.
Knowing that you and Lowry are playing together, you guys are unique as some footers who play outside in, both shoot the ball, both on the floor. If just curious, if you were having an out-of-body experience and you had to guard two of those guys, how would you do that as an opponent?
Two of who?
You and
me and him? Oh.
Yeah, 2 7-footers who play like that on the same team, kind of simultaneously. How would you deal with that, and what's that going to be like, kind of being on that side of it?
It's a blessing to be on this side of it. How would I guard it? You usually got to make stuff difficult. We're NBA players. That's how I would approach guarding other talented NBA players. You can't just expect to take away every single thing. You have to make life difficult and force them into stuff that's uncomfortable time after time, so they get tired and they just do stuff they don't want to do.
I love when you get a guy here 10 minutes and then you're like, how awesome is the welcome, Ben? You're like, I just got here. But there was a grocery store by me, I guess called Harmon's. Great donuts.
Great salad bar.
And by the way, the guy there at the store was nice. So yeah, Utah is nice, full of nice people. So there you go. This is a press conference from a guy, JJ, who is ready to play basketball.
Yeah,
which is
no
good.
question.
And he's a pro.
To be honest, he was in basketball purgatory in Memphis. That thing was going nowhere fast.
Yeah.
And he probably, because he signed a long-term contract, may have been concerned or worried that he'd be stuck in that situation for a while. I don't think he wanted to be a part of a rebuild during the prime of his career.
No.
And now he comes and he becomes an important face and an important player in this new era of Utah Jazz basketball, which essentially will begin next season as a playoff contender.
Yeah.
And with him and Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler, once business is taken care of this summer, and an Ace Bailey and a Keontae George and whoever this first-round draft pick is coming up, and these pieces they have off the bench with Bryce Sensabaugh and Isaiah, they have so many great players, and Flip, they got so much depth that they're going to have on this team, and they still have a lot of picks left to make moves or to add more young guys on cheap rookie contracts to this roster to keep it going in the future. This is a foundational piece of this new era of the Utah Jazz, and he's a perfect fit both on and off the court, and you listen to it right there. Great guy, great personality, but also all about business, all about ball, and he's a perfect fit for Utah.
So tonight, going to make his debut as a member of the Utah Jazz here at home for the first time. What's your over-under on points scored first night in Utah? He wants to impress everybody against a really bad, really not trying very hard, dare I say just, what was it? Egregious?
Yeah, egregious.
Egregious Sacramento Kings when it comes to tanking. No DeAndre Hunter, no Zach LaVine, no Malik Monk, no Keegan Murray, no Domantas Sabonis, no Russell Westbrook, although that probably helps him. So give me a stat line for Triple J tonight. I'm going to write it down. We're going to hold your feet to the fire.
So
tomorrow.
Jaren Jackson Jr. would go for 30 tonight. But the Jazz are egregiously not going to allow him to play the fourth quarter.
Come on.
So he goes for 25 and he doesn't rebound very well. So 25 points.
Okay, I'm going to go he does eclipse 30.
Wow,
I'm going to say
3 quarters?
I'm going to say he ends up playing more than 3 quarters, and I'm going to say that but just a little bit. And I'm going to say it's a 31-7 performance tonight from Jaren Jackson.
That would
Jr.
be a massive performance in 3 quarters.
Mark it down. Okay, hold on. Annapolis, we got to keep ourselves honest here. What did you say it was, 25?
I went 25.
25
So
points.
I'll take 25 and below.
Give me a rebound.
You take 26 and over.
Give me a rebound number then.
5.
Okay. So let's do this because I went over on the thing. So let's go.
He may have more blocks than rebounds.
So you're going to take the the point total. I'm going to take the 26.5. I'm taking the over, and on rebounds, 6.5. I'm taking the over. You're taking the under.
I'll take
on both
the under.
of those.
Yes.
Okay. Gosh, I wish you believed in the Utah Jazz new basketball player.
They're egregious.
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Ways.
How dare you? Okay.
Egregious.
We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. Hey, one of the guys who was asking a question in that press conference, questions that actually made sense, Chandler Holt of course, covering the Utah Jazz here for KSLSports.com.
Younger brother of Steve Holt. Steve Holt.
Steve Holt. Chandler's going to come back and tell us about this, the egregious actions of the Utah Jazz, but also what this game's going to look like tonight against the Sacramento Kings and the Utah Jazz over here at Delta Center. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scotty G's going to be out on the road on Friday, noon to 3 at Tim Daly Mazda in Sandy, 10785 South Automall Drive. That's Tim Daly Mazda in Sandy. Got some breaking news during the break here that was no good for anybody hearing this news. And you talk about, we've talked about the kinds of things that can happen in the off seasons, the kind of stuff that happens that, and these are stories that transcend whether it's sports or not, whether it has to do with athletes or not. But JJ, give us an idea here what the notification that we received during the break here about a BYU football player.
Yeah, Washington County's attorney's office just issued a press release that Parker Trent Kingston, age 21, has been charged with felony rape. The attorney's office says the investigation began in February of 2025 when a 20-year-old woman reported to police officers in St. George that she had been sexually assaulted. She claimed that Kingston assaulted her on February 23rd, 2025. Detectives with the St. George Police Department then gathered digital and forensic evidence and interviewed people involved in the case before turning it over to the Washington County Attorney's Office. Kingston has been taken into police custody in Washington County and is being held without bail. He has an initial court appearance scheduled for Friday, February 13th at 1:30 p.m.
So those are the facts of it, and obviously the moving parts that go along with a case that has this type of sensitivity that deals with it is massive. And the fallout, of course, usually a lot more than what football matters in a case like this, right? And so these are cases that, are ones that we always have to just kind of wait for and see what happens. A lot of allegations and obviously just charged right now. And we'll have to see what the future brings for Parker Kingston. Obviously a major piece of what BYU's offense would be in 2026 as they go forward here. And you're likely wide receiver one for that team as well. So lots of questions that need to get answered before this whole thing goes down. But, of course, we're waiting to see what the legality and what all the criminal activity or the criminal charges and all the things that come with it. And then, all the things that would come with that, defenses and prosecutory dealings, of course, in Washington County. So bad news for everybody involved. So there you go. And so that just came down the pike here right before we were coming back on the air here. So I know it sounds abrupt here as we make that transition into talking Utah Jazz, who have a game here coming up in about an hour and 20 minutes. That means 20 minutes until our Jazz pregame right here on the radio home of the Jazz. And, of course, talking with us today and nice enough to join us, he's Chandler Holt. And we just got done listening to the Jaren Jackson Jr. Press conference. And, of course, the newest member of the Utah Jazz making his newest debut here at the Delta Center for the first time. And Chandler asked a couple questions of young Jaren Jackson Jr. What's it like? What was it like? What was the vibe at the press conference? And what's it like having this guy now in the state of Utah playing for the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, it was fresh off of the practice earlier today. Him and Will Hardy sat there and chatted at the top of one of the three-point lines for about 5 minutes. They eventually came over and vibes were high. Everything seemed good. He talked about the Utah home crowd. He said it's always loud when he's here, and he's excited to have it on his side for the first time in his career. And they're playing the Sacramento Kings, who are one of the worst team in the league. Don't even have to add the one of the qualifier there. So maybe a third straight Jazz win for the first time this season, I believe.
Well, that would be bad.
I agree.
Do we not know the assignment? I'm joking, but not joking. We have seen Jaren Jackson on the court during this road trip, and it's looked great. What are your first impressions of Jaren Jackson Jr. on the court with Lauri Markkanen and in this offense?
Offensively, it is already ridiculous, and it will only get more ridiculous when you add Walker Kessler to start next year, both on offense and defense, what he provides. But just with Lauri and Triple J right now, you have two 7-footers who can dribble, shoot, go off the catch, go off the dribble, run in transition. Lauri isn't much of a defender, but you've already seen Jaren Jackson's defensive impact. It has been plainly awesome so far. Jaren Jackson is averaging 22. He's had 22 points back-to-back games. Hasn't played in the fourth quarter either game, but the Jazz are going to have to be a bit more aggressive than just not playing him in the fourth quarters, it looks like, in order to hold on to their top 8 protected pick.
Yes, but does he play in the fourth quarter tonight? This is the first home game back. JJ and I were trying to figure out an over-under for how many points he's going to score at home to impress the home crowd. I've got him. I'm taking the over at 20 over the 26.5 is what we set it at. But I mean, this is a guy who can score, and everybody looks and goes, "Well, he can't rebound very well." What's the reality of what the Jazz fans are getting with Jaren Jackson Jr.? And it was brought up during the press conference, the pairing with Walker Kessler potentially in that front court.
Yes, so it is no secret that Jaren Jackson is not a good rebounder for his size. He also has a tendency to get in foul trouble at times, which is just sort of a thing that comes with rim protectors. I think that is a bit blown out of proportion for Jaren Jackson. There are some players like Karl-Anthony Towns who are even worse than him, and that's actually a problem for them. I think if Jaren is getting 4 or 5 fouls a night, but he's also contesting 90% of the shots when he's in on the court, then it's not really an issue. But the Jazz are 30th. They are last. There are teams with like the Sacramento Kings tonight, who have 12 wins, who are
have all the vets, and they're just a much worse team than the Jazz, and they have a better defense. That was the main thing the Jazz needed to attack, and they did exactly that. Maybe now they need to look to get a little bit more perimeter defense, or maybe you're just expecting guys like Keontae George and Ace Bailey to make jumps on that side of the ball. But I think the Jazz really hit a bullseye with this one. I think they really went and they got the guy that fits exactly what they needed, addresses probably their biggest weakness. And I'm excited. Regarding tonight's game, I'm with you on the over. If you see the Sacramento Kings injury report, they're rolling out a glorified G League squad tonight. So even if you didn't play Triple J, then you might have won this game anyway. So I'm with you. Just go all out tonight.
How are the Jazz such the bad guys in all the tanking stuff when we see stuff like this? Jeez.
What has been your reaction to some of that, Chandler? You've watched it all, and for some reason the national media are picking on the Jazz about this when tanking's been going on for 40 years. What is that all about?
Exactly. I'm 100% with you. I don't get why all of a sudden now. I mean, it makes sense a bit why you just make a buying trade, a win now trade, and you're still trying to lose. From the Jazz's perspective, it makes sense why you're trying to lose. From the national perspective, it does look a bit fishy, but there's been, like you said, 40 years. Tanking, and unethical tanking, if you want to call it that, goes back to the mid 80s. Like the Rockets did it to get Hakeem Olajuwon when they already had Ralph Sampson. Like, that is how far this goes back. So acting like it's some new thing and it's all Danny Ainge's fault is absolutely ridiculous.
This franchise, a well-documented history of just embarrassing themselves with the tank. It's like, this is a market, and I love that. I thought it was crazy they brought up Will Hardy's name, and they're like, and look, Will Hardy's just sitting on his hands, just not even taking timeouts. You're like, while the team is getting absolutely, blasted, I'm going, why would you take timeouts if the team's getting steamrolled at the end of the game? What could you possibly say in a timeout that would help a situation where you're down by 30? That makes me angry.
I'm with you. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I think that the national, I think it was ESPN who had the big segment on it. I think they just had an open 20 minutes they needed to fill.
That's probably right. What's today's outrage of the day? Let's pick on the Utah Jazz.
Well, let's do it 2 days in a row, too, because that's what they've been doing.
The good news, Chandler, is after this season, we don't have to hear about tanking in this market for quite a long time.
We hope.
Because this roster's built to win next year and win big. What I know you're in the daily grind. You're focused on this team each and every day. We get to lose ourselves in college football, NFL, all these other things. You're focused on the Jazz day in and day out. That has to have been taking its toll because it's not been fun over the last 3 or 4 years. What was it like for you? How refreshing was it to see this deal go down and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel now for this franchise?
I am extremely excited. I'm excited to watch, not see any of these fluky injury reports and all this stuff. And again, this is not a Utah Jazz thing. This is an NBA thing. Their system promotes this type of thing. But no, I'm very excited. I've also always liked Jaren Jackson. That Memphis team was always interesting to me. And I think pairing him next to Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson played with Marc Gasol for like 40 or 50 games in his rookie season. But since then, not really any defensive-minded centers next to him. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out going next year. I don't expect them to be some high 50s win team, but I think they'll make the playoffs. And I think after years of gelling and also expecting more jumps from Keontae George, a first jump from Ace Bailey, and of course, hopefully, as long as the Jazz don't keep winning whatever this draft pick ends up being, I think the future's bright. And I think that Jaren Jackson was the first domino to fall. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Chandler Holt, he is, of course, one of our Jazz beat writers for KSLSports.com. And, of course, he and Ben Anderson do a phenomenal job of hosting Jazz Notes together. You can download that podcast on our website or wherever fine podcasts are found. Chandler, enjoy the game tonight. We'll chat with you again, man.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Chandler.
There you go, Chandler Holt. Steve Holt. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and we'll put a bow on this thing before we get you ready for Jazz basketball coming up at the top of the hour. So stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. Of course, we rolled out the breaking news last segment that the Washington County Sheriff's Office has filed charges against wide receiver for BYU, Parker Kingston. stemming from an incident that occurred last February. According to their offices, Parker Kingston has been charged with first-degree felony rape and is being held in jail down there in Washington County without bail. Obviously, as this thing, as they gathered some of the information they went through, and then they felt like they had enough to press forward with charges there. So that, of course, is another topic that we're going to be able to, we're going to have to address, of course, in the coming days, and as that whole thing rolls out there. But JJ, Jazz versus the Sacramento Kings tonight. What happens over at Delta Center?
Something egregious.
By somebody. Might be by both of them, by the way.
The most egregious thing is the Jazz are going to win tonight.
Oh, no.
I know, right? Because you can't out-tank the Kangs. Jazz are going to win tonight, and it's not the assignment, but you can't lose them all.
Okay.
As hard as you try, you can't lose them all.
Well, we'll make sure and dive into that, of course, all tomorrow as well. But you're going to get the coverage right here, pre-half and post, and the game right here on your home of the Utah Jazz. And we'll, of course, come back tomorrow and we'll talk all about it. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Jazz basketball coming right up. Stay here with us.